2025 is almost over, and these last 3 months have gone by so fast. Did it feel that way for you too? Because for me, it's wild, especially since the first 3 months of the year felt like 3 years long. January in particular, woof, the government policy changes had me on pins and needles. The whole first quarter felt like I was just trying to keep my footing. And then summer, you blink, you miss it. They say time flies when you're having fun, and usually my fun ends in September, the moment the weather turns cold. But this year was different because I relaunched this podcast and the fun didn't stop. It shifted. And I'm genuinely so grateful you're here with me, exploring new and diverse books, learning from the creators who write them, and building this community where story lovers get to breathe together. This really is a dream come true. But life is life, and things can get very difficult very quick. I feel like that's a shared experience. We all have moments, days, some of us even have full seasons where things are just a little too much to deal with. When I was pulling together our most anticipated reads for November, I came across a book that resonated with me on that exact level. It's called The White Hot by Quiara Alegría Hudes. And today, we're going to do a deeper dive into the story. Let's get into it.
A new chapter is waiting, full of new and diverse voices captivating. Cut through all the endless noise and discover books you'll truly love. Find out what's new and what's now and now in books. Now in books, now in books, now in books, now in books. What's new? What's now? Stories that matter, stories that wow. Discover the reads that'll engage your mind and explore the issues of our time. Cut through all the endless noise and discover books you'll truly love. Find out what's new and now in books.
Hey, y'all. I'm Laren, host of the Now in Books podcast. And today, I'm sharing my review of The White Hot by Quiara Alegría Hudes. The novel is about April Soto. She's a young mom raising her daughter in a two-bedroom home she shares with her mother, Mama Cesed, and her grandmother, Abuela Amara. Las Mujeres Soto, the Soto women. April feels stuck in her life. Before she got pregnant, she had so much potential, so much promise. But all that potential seems to have ended with motherhood. April's daughter, Noelle, is 10 years old and following in her mother's footsteps as far as potential and attitude. Noelle, much like her mama, has anger management issues. And the story opens with an inciting incident that snowballs and leads April to the White Hot, which is a place of extreme rage, frustration, and exhaustion that has her walking out the house and not returning. When I spoke about the White Hot earlier this month, I mentioned that the thought of just walking off and leaving everything behind is what made me pick up this book. It made me wonder, what would put me in that mindset? What would push me over the edge? I've never gotten to that level of rage. And boy, do I hope I never will. Because April went on a trip. And the White Hot is literally a letter to Noelle from April explaining why she abandoned her. The letter arrives on Noelle's 18th birthday, on the cusp of her womanhood, 8 years after April left. It's the first communication Noelle's gotten from April, and it explains where April went, why she left, what she endured, and what she learned about being a woman. Vital knowledge April shares so Noelle can choose the kind of woman she wants to be, armed with more knowledge than April ever had. The letter is not an apology, not a justification, just a passing of knowledge, a deeply flawed inheritance. This setup wasn't an accident. The author, Quiara, comes from a very traditional matriarchal family. We're talking about generations of women who sacrificed themselves to fulfill their duties. They put the family first, they put the kids first, they erased themselves, set aside their desires to keep the unit together. Kiara set out to write a bad mom and explore what happens when a woman in that structure decides not to sacrifice herself. And so we get Las Mujeres Soto. This book is so much about the Soto women, their history, their trauma, their strength, and all the unspoken rules passed from mother to daughter. April is a complicated woman, a dreamer, a romantic, a seeker, a runner. As I was reading, it was so easy early on to judge her. Like, girl, you left your daughter, your child, for 10 days. It's a knee jerk reaction. But the more you read, the more layers you uncover. April isn't careless. She's desperate. She's suffocating. She's searching for something she can't even name because no one ever taught her to name her own needs. She was quite literally a child raising a child. It made me wonder, what's a good mom or bad mom? And do we judge mothers more harshly because they're women? The answer to that question is yes. The White Hot is a retelling of the classic novel Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse, which is referenced throughout the story. But it flips the script and centers a woman leaving her life behind to go on a spiritual journey. Because socially, while men are allowed the freedom to walk away from their families to find themselves, when a woman does the same, she's selfish, for the streets, it's child abandonment. There were three standout moments in the novel for me. The first is April's journey through the woods. It's spiritual and chaotic all at once. And I know I just said April wasn't careless. In this moment, I felt like she was, but I guess a better word would be reckless. Because while her woodland experience was deeply spiritual and connected her almost magically to nature, the danger she put herself in as a woman traveling alone came off as suicidal. She didn't just flirt with death. She basically laid down and let it lick her face, and then take a dump a few feet away from her. The second standout moment is directly tied to the woods. There, she meets a man, and I'll keep this spoiler free, but her meeting him leads to an awakening of self she's never experienced. And for me, I much preferred her musical awakening than her trek through the woods. And last standout moment, the hardest moment, and perhaps the most important, is a flashback that explains so much of who April is. Because of that experience, she became a fighter. She became determined not to be trapped in that same cycle. It doesn't justify her choices, but it made me understand her more and appreciate her journey. That flashback hit me hard. So, where do I land on the White Hot? This was a solid 4-star read for me. I knew going in that the writing would be striking. There are so many eloquent phrases and descriptions bursting within the story. Kiara is the woman behind the musical In the Heights and is a Tony Award and Pulitzer Prize winner. I expected a really good story, and she delivered. I knew from the title alone that my emotions would be stirred. It's not a comfortable book, it challenges you. If you go into this looking for a cozy family drama, you're going to be shocked. Las Mujeres Soto are complex women. The layers of family drama, the tension between the duty of women and the freedom to be yourself, it's heavy lifting, but it's necessary lifting. I often say the best stories are the ones that make you feel, question, or simply entertain. And this does all three. So if you're interested in complex female characters who make messy, difficult choices, pick this one up. That's it for this week. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the Now in Books podcast. If The White Hot is on your TBR, or if you've already read it, I would love to hear your thoughts. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, go ahead and hit that follow so you don't miss future episodes. And as always, share this episode with a friend, especially one who loves books with depth, messiness, and heart. Until next time, I'm Laren, and I'll see you on the next chapter. Happy reading.